Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our Urban Worm Bag version 2.0. Now, I found out from somebody that the links that I've had down below in my description for the Urban Worm Bag on Amazon has been sold out, and apparently it's been sold out for a while. So I removed that link and added a direct link to the Urban Worm Company's website where you can purchase. This is an affiliate link as well. I want to be perfectly honest with you. I do get a commission if you purchase through my link. But I wanted to make sure that you actually had a way to purchase it and not just sending you to a site where it's unavailable. So I'm sending you to a direct link now down below. The other thing is that it has been 32 days since my last update on this, which is much longer than I wanted to do. I just have had a lot of stuff going on. As you can tell, I finally got my hair cut. It's nice and short instead of being down around my cheeks. And, just been sort of busy and haven't had a chance to really get onto this compared to some of the other stuff I had from my, the 10-gallon totes that I've been working on and the verminting system. So I'll try to get better at updating this more often, but we'll see. So it's been 32 days, and let's take a look and see how it's doing. I know it's going to need food, might need some bedding, and we'll see about moisture. I don't know. We'll see if it needs it or not. So let's go and take a look and see how it's doing. Okay, so here we are, 32 days in here, and let's open it up and see how we're doing. And yeah, it is very dry in here. I'm not surprised by this. I think it was a little bit dry last time. So we're going to take this off right here. I'm just going to put this to the side. If I can find a place to put it. There we go. So this looks a little bit moist over here. This is the area that we fed last time. I'm sure that there are a ton of worms in here. Let's just kind of dig this up a little bit and just take a look here. You can see some of the worms. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. There we go. So you can see there's some worms in here. They're quite dry. This looks a little bit compacted. They don't look quite as healthy or energetic as normal. As we get down here, you can really see that there's more. They're all trying to really work into this area probably. Oh, here we go. Here's an avocado peel. You see we got one of the worms in there. So here we go. Here's actually quite a few of them that look like they're a little bit more energetic than some of the other ones. So they're looking good, but they definitely need more food in here. This is really low. I should have definitely fed them sooner. It's a little bit compacted. Not much bedding in here compared to also normal, although there is some sections. Let's just dig down just a little bit in here just to see how it looks. Again, these banana husks, or the husks, the end of them right here, these things take forever to break down, it feels like, in a bin, but I still add them, keep them in here and just let them go through, and I'll throw them back in if they come out on the other side. So overall, food all gone except for that, couple of little things in there that take longer. Let's just dig over here real quick. Still very good, healthy looking worms. I'm glad to see that these are doing better. I was so worried when I first got them that they were not acclimating to this bin, but they're doing really well now. I mean, you can really see them moving around, nice and healthy. There's a whole bunch of them in this section. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just put this back where it was. Come over here to this side. Let's just take a look over here. You can tell it's really dry in this corner over here. At least I think you can. Hold on, let me move this shirt out of the way. I think it's throwing off the white balance in here a little bit, or the brightness. So kind of dry on top. Let's just move this over here. Very dry on top, actually, compared to, I probably could squeeze out hardly any water. Now let's just dig down here. Very compact, but as you can see, this soil looks fantastic. I mean, this is just great crumbly material. You can see it's just loaded with worms. I mean, they really look good in here. They really look healthy. I'm happy about that. So they look big too, although they're not quite as big as they normally are. I mean, like, they're long, but they look kind of thin. Usually they're a little bit thicker, and that's a moisture issue. The less moisture you have, I think the smaller the worms are. It looks like there's a whole bunch of them in here. They're doing pretty well. So we're going to move this out of the way. Let me just dig down here just a little bit further. Again, really dry right here on that corner. Tons and tons of worms. They're really looking for food right now. So I'm going to move these guys up here. And remember, these are European night crawlers. Most of my bins have red in them. Or, I'm sorry, red wigglers in them. or reds, or whatever you want to call them. So these have my European night crawlers, and this is quite, there's a little bit higher, I think, last time we opened this up. So I think it's really compressed down here. And you can see the worms are actually going down into this compressed area down there, and they're digging through, and they're, you know, making their little burrows and everything. So they're doing really well. Now, I definitely think this needs more paper. This needs more bedding material. I'm gonna add a whole bunch of bedding in here because I want to also protect them. We're gonna add a lot of food since there's a lot of worms in here, and they seem to be going through food pretty well. I really should have probably was hoping to get to this a little bit faster, but we're gonna just kind of throw this in there, kind of make a protective area where this food can go, since we're gonna put a lot in and it's all frozen. So there we go. There's the protective area where we're gonna put the food on this side right here. Last time we fed on the other side. Some paper dust in the air. Now, you know what? I'm going to put in, at the beginning of this, normally I'd put this in at the end, but I'm going to put it in right now as well, and then I'll put it on top as well because of how much food we're adding. But this is my crushed crab and eggshell, and I always try to add a little bit of this to my bins. So we're going to put a little bit right there, and this stuff is horrible to breathe, by the way. I know I say it in almost every video, but it really is horrible to breathe. That's why I have in that little container, there's less dust that comes up. Now, for food, I've got an entire thing of food here. So this is a lot of food. First off, we've got banana peel, we've got some coffee grounds, some mango peels, a mango pit. We'll see how long that takes to break down. So we've got some broccoli, some banana peels. Oops. We have food that they like here is some carrot peelings. Now, as I said, there's a big container of food. We got more banana peels. All right. Now, here comes a huge hoard of celery. This was some cucumber on the end here. So some cucumber that's frozen, some carrot, and then some celery. We had a package of celery that went bad really quickly. In fact, it was like a couple days. This has been happening a little bit more frequently during the pandemic as we're not checking food quite as carefully while we're in the store. But you know, there's some strawberries in here as well, some of the tops of strawberries, a piece of lettuce, some carrot tops. This is going to be a big feeding here. We're going to feed a whole lot of food here, really give them something to dig into. Because I really, really need this to grow. Because my next goal, I think for the next update of this, is to first off harvest. Got a little bit of spinach or lettuce. I think that's spinach in here. Some peelings from cucumbers. I think that's good for now. Actually, maybe just, you know what? We're just going to finish this off. There's not much left in here. Primarily the same stuff, but it's just kind of stuck a little bit more to the bottom. This is all frozen, and it's starting to thaw out just a little bit there towards the end. There we go. So, huge feeding of food here. So, what we're going to do now, because there's so much food here, I don't really want to just throw the worms right on top of here, because they're gonna get killed if they do that, because this is frozen. And this is one thing I will say: I freeze nearly all my food, but I do try to protect the worms as much as I can. So I'm going to put on a little bit more of this crushed eggshell. Actually, I'll just finish off this container. I think we're going to add a whole bunch to this. Now, what we're going to do though is, because this is also, there's another issue with this bin. So we're going to add some more paper, but there's not a whole lot of really, what's the word I'm looking for here? Wet materials that we added. This is like lettuce and spinach, and celery has some water in it, but it's not very moist material. So I'm worried about this kind of drying out a little bit more as the worms, as you know, it sort of dissolves down, but the worms work at it. We're adding more dry bedding. It was already kind of dry in here, so we're going to need to add, I think, some other moisture, some more moisture to this. So first we're going to do those. We're going to cover this up with more bedding material. So we're adding a lot of bedding this time because the bedding's pretty much almost gone. All right, so there we go. So that is now done. Try to get off anything I've got on my gloves here. And I have my water container over here. And we're gonna add a bunch of water. So now I gotta pump it up here. But you know, you gotta really watch out when this stuff starts drying. So you can see this stuff, if I spray this area over here, it's kind of turning a little bit muddy, but at the same time, it's just going to help the worms because they need moisture to survive. Worms breathe through their skin, for those of you that don't know. or have never learned about worms before, they breathe through their skin, but that means that they need moisture on their skin. And if you watch some of my time-lapse videos, you're going to notice that when you spray water in there, they go nuts because they need that moisture. So they're looking for it, and they're willing to go wherever it is. And when you spray down the bin, and all of a sudden, you know, they can go everywhere, and they can check out, and they can find other areas. And you'll find that also when you do this, they might tend to wander a little bit more. So if you have moisture around, they're going to wander a little bit more. But at the same time, it's healthy. They need that. So, you know, this is an important thing to do, to add a lot of moisture to your bins. I find it's better to run them a little wet than dry. You don't want mud, but you don't want it so dry that they're shriveling up and shrinking and, you know, hardly surviving. So, a little worm up there. Let me just give them a little bit of water in that one right there. They'll head back down eventually. I don't think you can see them, but they're all, some of them crawling up the walls now as they're starting to search for food and get out of the light. So there we go. I think that's good. Actually, maybe just a little bit more moisture. Make a spot right here where it kind of drips down into the bedding below. All right. So now this is nicely covered, but I'm still going to take some of this material and just throw it on top here. I just find that this is helpful. It helps the microbes get into this area. You know, it's really going to help it start to break down faster, including the paper. I mean, you know, this paper takes time, but you know, the worms need those microbes. So you really want to get it inoculated quickly. If you let it sit there by itself, it will break down, but it takes time, and more time than I really want to give it. So now I'm going to mark this as the side that I last fed on. And I just sort of only switch sides on these bins. I don't go around in a circle quite as much, but because it was this being such a massive feeding, the next one will just be on the other side, and we'll pull it back, and we'll just go back and forth as we do these massive feedings. So my next goal with this, I'm hoping that I'm going to try to get here a little bit earlier and empty this out. But what I want to do is I really want to harvest some of these worms as well. I've never harvested these European night crawlers. This is the only system that they're in. I want to try these, though, in the vermenting system that I built for my reds. So I have that going. Had one, it worked really well. And now I want to start another one with this. And I have the other one going as well. So I have a second, I should say, I restarted my vermenting bin with reds in it. I want to try it with the Europeans, though. I'm really curious to see how they would do in a smaller system, because this is a very big system and they're big worms, and to see if they're shrink down maybe a little bit, or if they multiply just as quickly as the reds did, because they really did multiply in that system. So that's my update. Thank you for watching. Let me just throw my cardboard cover back on top here, which I use just to kind of hold in some of the moisture. And so far this is looking pretty good. The worms look really healthy. No cocoons this time, but overall, this is a good, it really held up well, with considering the fact that it's been almost a month, or I should say just over a month, since I last updated it and added food. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know. And if you find out any of my links do not work, please drop me a line. I try to post to items that are available on Amazon and are readily there, but can't always be correct. So please drop me a link below and let me know what's not working, and I'll update those links for you so you can find the items that I'm using in my video. So thank you again for watching, and let me know in the comments what you think.